To all my folks living and residing in Australia, there is no doubt in my mind that you haven't heard of superannuation. Let's go back to 1992 when the federal government first introduced the legislation that was compulsory for employers to contribute to superannuation.
Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. Has the Prime Minister's attention been drawn to reports on the need for governments to promote policies which ensure that people save for their retirement? Can the Prime Minister inform the House of our government's intentions in this regard?
What a good question. The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, this House last night passed the Superannuation Guarantee Levy. In doing so, it has entrenched in legislation a great reform which will be of great benefit to coming generations of Australians. Mr Speaker, for the first time in our history, well in advance of reform in other advanced industrial countries, ordinary Australians will be able to build a decent nest egg for their retirement.
In other words, it's a retirement system that benefits the likes of yourself and I to retire the money being invested. It started with only 3% investment. Until now, it's risen to 9.5% and will soon rise to 10% starting from 1st of July of 2021 and rise again 1st of July next year to 10.5%. Each year, it'll rise at 0.5% until 2026, capping at 12%. And what I've realized is that if you do it by the rules and understand the rules, it's the most tax-effective vehicle we have to invest through today. Hi guys, Usama Al-Fahdawi here, and today we're talking about what is superannuation, how superannuation works, and why it's important to have your superannuation checked by financial professionals. Let's get into it. Now, first off, I want to make this clear. This is general information only and shouldn't take your financial circumstances or needs. I strongly recommend getting in touch with a financial planner before taking any action. Superannuation is not an investment. Rather, it's a structure of your savings and investment that is put aside. And it's important to have this picture framed in your mind, because I believe it's fundamental to understand the importance of superannuation and how it actually works. As an example, let's have Jake here. Jake works in a high-tier IT industry, and before signing his contract, he's been given the superannuation forms to fill out. Now, what Jake does is that he looks at the options available and thinks to himself, okay, and depends on his circumstances, beliefs, goals, and aspirations. But let's just say Jake wants the highest return investment options, so he picks the most appealing. However, what Jake doesn't know is that he was limited to the options given to him. And I'm sure we've all been there, and I want to point it out that sometimes, depending on the funds you've been given, the options will have the most suitable option for you. However, a good portion of Australian populations are not quite interested in the options given and wished they can change that. Well, you are in luck, because in this video, you'll soon realize the potential and how you can place your superannuation funds in whatever option you want. Now, superannuation is similar to any other business. It has its own laws, rules, regulations, and tax rates. Depending on your circumstances, you can pretty much invest in whatever you want, such as shares, property, cash, bonds, private equity, infrastructure, fixed interest, and other investment options. Choosing your own superannuation has to be the most important purchases. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why is that, Osama? Well, you see, there is a wide range of options to choose from. Yep, I'm not even kidding. To make this video as simple and broad as possible. There's basically 3 options to choose from. There's the corporate fund, the public fund, and the SMSF. A corporate fund is offered by big companies like Qantas and Telstra for their employees, which is basically limited to certain people. Also, we have the public funds that is open for anyone to join. A public fund is a super fund that can be joined by members of the public with limited investment options. Now, before choosing a superannuation fund, you have to ask yourself, what are the fees associated with this option? Because you wouldn't want to be paying a large chunk of your superannuation away, right? Secondly, what type of investments are offered? Because you might be picky with your investment options and want to put your money that has a huge impact on life, or maybe you want the best yielding return. So make sure you have that covered. Thirdly is the reporting capabilities, which is if the investment option is performing or underperforming, and what are the likelihood of it doing great in the next couple of years. Lastly, the type of beneficiaries nominated. It's better suited to get insurance that suits your needs, lifestyle, and habits. Now, public fund superannuation pretty much can offer what you want in terms of investment options. However, if you are someone who is picky with the type of investment on where you want your money placed, maybe you are someone who wants to support a certain cause, or someone who is religious and faithful and doesn't want their money placed in a structure that you're not happy with. Well, that is why you have the luxury to do that with an SMSF. A SMSF is basically where you have control and freedom to run your own SMSF, also known as the superannuation trust structure. Again, you must comply with the laws and regulations when you set up the fund and become the trustee of the fund. You must be responsible of maintaining and managing the fund. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of running your own SMSF. The advantages are the investment choices of your liking, of course. Secondly, the flexibility and control, which you can take quick adjustments regarding your portfolio. And finally, the effective tax management, which is awesome because you will have tax strategies that suit your needs. The disadvantages are the duties and responsibilities of running it on your own. Firstly, you must comply with the rules and regulations and must be updated when things change. However, this is when a financial planner can assist you along the way and be the stepping stone with your finances. Secondly, the cost of running it on your own. If you're running your own SMSF, your fund might run low without you even noticing because you are not alerted when things are going up or down. This is why having a financial planner will help you and be the person to call or message you when things are heading down or up, because that's part of their profession. There's basically 2 types of contribution. There's the concessional and non-concessional contributions. Really simple. The concessional contribution is a contribution made before tax or a personal contribution you claim as a tax deduction. Broadly, there are 3 types. Firstly is the compulsory contribution, which are the before tax contribution required by law and must be made. Then there is the salary sacrifice contribution, which you can choose to have some of your before tax income paid into a super account by employers, which currently is capped at $25,000 per annum. And finally, we have the personal deductible contribution, which are voluntarily contributions you can make using after-tax dollars, then claim a tax deductible on these payments. Also, something else to keep in mind, when you make a concessional contribution, it will be taxed by 15%. now we move on to the non-concessional contribution, which is basically your own money put into your super fund using after-tax dollars. Example, you are going to the ATM to withdraw money and taking out your savings and putting it into your super account. Usually, people make non-concessional contributions when they've capped their annually concessional contribution. There are other contributions such as your government co-contribution and spouse contribution tax offset. Your government co-contribution are for low and middle-income earners, and it changes every financial year. Basically, if you meet the eligibility and you contribute $1,000, you'll receive a maximum of co-contribution of $500 from the government. The spouse contribution tax offset is your spouse, such as your husband, wife, or even de facto, is a low to middle income earner or even not working at all. You might be eligible for a tax offset. At the moment, it's roughly about $3,000 per annum. This is usually useful if you are in a relationship or a de facto, and either the husband or wife works and the other doesn't, or does, or doesn't earn much. Remember, there are smarter and better ways on structuring your money into your superannuation. It all comes down on your preferences, goals, aspirations, and what you want your superannuation money to be going into. And a financial planner can help you do just that. Thank you.